Hey everyone, welcome to another top 10 list. This week's top 10 list, as you saw, is the top 10 coolest reverses on US currency. And I want to thank JRap170 for suggesting this. He put it in one of my suggestions, and I thought, I always focus on the front of notes. I never bothered to focus on the backs. And there is a lot of really interesting backs on notes. Now, the problem I had was trying to limit that to just 10. So let's get this out of the way. And I'm going to have to start with a couple honorable mentions. Now, for honorable mentions, the main thing I was thinking is notes that you may not actually ever get to see in person and most certainly won't be able to own. So I put those into the honorable mention because when you see the very first honorable mention, you're going to think it should have been number one. This is the back of the 1878 $10,000 bill. 1878 $10,000 bill. That is incredible. That is there's no words. I mean, that is just such an amazing back to our currency. And we probably aren't going to own one of those anytime soon. I'm not even sure that there's any out in circulation. That was the 10,000. Even the 5,000 is pretty cool. And it's interesting because even my book shows this back of the $5,000 bill just in horrendous shape with three major folds on it like that. So yeah, that's the front, just for what it's worth. But that $10,000 note, that is mind-blowing. It's pretty hard to not include that on impressive backs when it comes to U.S. currency. All right, what else do I have? Also on the honorable mention list, I have Treasury notes. These are from 1890. The 1890 Treasury notes, also notes you're probably not going to get your hands on. You're talking the 100 and the $1,000 Treasury note. These are the watermelon notes. You've got the $100 watermelon. The zeros on the back look like watermelons. If you look closely, it wasn't supposed to be. It was just the pattern and the way that our eyes perceive it. So it wasn't intended to be a watermelon, but that's just how everybody took it. And if you're going to have the watermelon, you're also going to have the grand watermelon, which is the $1,000 note. The $1,000 note has the same design on the zeros like that, giving the impression of three watermelons lined up. Those are the two 1890 Treasury notes, the watermelon and the grand watermelon. Obviously notes you're never going to own yourself, but still with very impressive backs. Notes that are known more for their backs than their fronts. So we'll set those aside. Again on the honorable mention list, notes that people have never even probably seen. These are what are called national gold banknotes. National gold banknotes actually had pictures of coinage on the back of them. Check that out. That is just really neat. A whole pile of change is what was printed on the back. Now, they did make them in other denominations. However, they did use the same picture every single time. And you'll notice the national banknotes, these are 1870 is when these were done. And you can see down here, they're talking 3 known, 2 known, 1 known, unknown if any are available. Those are on the hundreds. On the, the 50, 5 known, 1 known, yeah. On the 20, you got a chance. If you find one in FR2, Fair 2, it's still worth $5,500. Good luck. Probably not going to find one of those. You may get lucky enough to spot one at a show. But that was the 1870 gold treasury notes. Some of the other ones that made my honorary mention list would be, this here is the Series 1918 $50 national currency. This is a Federal Reserve banknote. This one doesn't seem that impressive on the back. You've got a cruise ship here, and then you also have a battleship on the back there like that. But why I find this so interesting is this picture in the center. I am quite certain that this might be one of the only U.S. dollar bills that has palm trees. Yeah. Palm trees. I guess this was done in honor of the Panama Canal. You can see Panama listed right there, and that would explain the palm trees, of course. But I can't think of another note that has palm trees on it. So I found that to be interesting. And the last note that made the honorable mention, I know I'm 5 minutes in, the lowly $2 bill. Yes, you can still get these in banks today, but when you think of the backs of our currency and you think of how detailed the modern $2 bill is, it's kind of out of place. The amount of stuff that you see, the amount of people in this note, of course, it's the Declaration of Independence signing that's on here. It's just so much more intricate than you see on virtually any other note that we have. So, yeah, I pretty much had to include this in the list when you think about what's on there. Anyway, those are all my honorable mentions. Let's get down to the actual top 10. Number 10 on my list. It is one of my favorite recent notes. It's the Smallhead $100 bill. Smallhead $100 bill. I always found the back of this really cool. You've got Independence Hall back there. I don't know if it's the shading on the digits from dark to light. I don't know if it's the curvature of it. I don't know if it's the pinnacle, but I've always really liked the back of this bill. It could simply be me going back to my childhood thinking that, $100 bill is just, oh, that's a lot of money. So seeing a bill like this always just kind of triggered that thing in the back of your head. But either way, the $100 bill featuring Independence Hall, I think is one of the 10 best designs. It is very iconic, and it's something you can still get. Number 9. Number 9 is a bill that is known because of its back. This is a 1934 $1 silver certificate, and of course, you guys know it as the funny back. Now, how do I not include a note that's called the funny back on our top 10 list? So I put this one at number 9. Now, it wasn't known as the funny back when it came out. The funny back had this design in 1928 and in 1934. But then starting in 1935, they changed the back design. So from 1935 on, if you started getting straps of singles and you had a lot of singles, you would notice that these would stick out. They would have a funny back compared to the rest of the backs. And if you try to find, if you're talking the 1940s, for instance, that's like trying to find notes from 1999 right now. You just don't see them. You can have 100 singles and you're lucky to find one. So yeah, these backs did stick out, and that's how they got the nickname funny back. Because when you put them in a group, they would definitely stick out, and they certainly look a little different than what you're used to seeing. That's number 9. Number 8. I went with a 1917 $1 legal tender. This one is known as the Sawhorse. Now, mine's got a little bit of schmutz right here in the middle, but once again, you've got this giant X pattern that says United States of America. And back in the day, if you were to lay two boards across each other in this fashion, you would use that as a sawhorse. You'd put whatever you were going to cut right here to hold it up for you, and off you go. So this was known as the Sawhorse, and it was fairly detailed in its design. Once again, though, it is a note that stuck out to me because it had a name based on the back of the bill like that. I know there's a lot of them like that, but for some reason this one always stuck out to me, the Sawhorse with that X pattern on the back from 1917. $1 legal tender, that's number 8. Number 7. This is from the second charter of national bank currency. National currency had 3 different charters. The first charter was started in 1865, I want to say. This particular, 1862 probably would have been, because this charter began in 1882. So the 1882 second charter featured an interesting aspect about the notes, and that was the incorporation of the color brown. So you've got the second charter brownbacks from national currency. Now, the national currency, of course, had 2 pictures on the back. You've got the eagle for representing the United States, and then if you look on the other side, each particular state had their seal printed on the back of the note. So this particular note is from Decatur, Illinois. So yes, it has the eagle representing the United States, but it also, if you look real close, says Illinois state sovereignty, national union. So that is the Illinois state seal right there. So that makes these kind of neat. Every different national banknote's going to have a different seal here, and of course they're going to have a different number here because this big number here in the center is the charter number. That's the number that you see right there. So that was the number of the charter that they were given. So prominently you've got that, but you've got brown ink on the side. And that's what makes these known as the brown backs. Having the two different types of seals, definitely an interesting back of a note. 10, 9, 8, that was number 7. Number 6, I've got another national currency. This is a Federal Reserve banknote from the series of 1918. This is a $1 note, and what makes this note so neat? This one is called the Flying Eagle. The Flying Eagle shows the eagle soaring, holding the American flag in its talons. The Flying Eagle note, very reminiscent of the 1857 Flying Eagle penny. I don't know my coins that well. I think that's the right year. But yeah, the Flying Eagle from 1918, showing the eagle soaring like that. That's just one of the more iconic pictures you're going to see on the back of a note. So that one definitely had to make the list as well. 10, 9, 8, 7, that was 6. Number 5. Number 5, I have a pair of notes. And it's weird that I actually have notes from this series this high in a list. Normally they're closer to number 1. This is the 1896 Educational Series note. This is the $1 bill from that series. And I also have the $5 bill from that series as well. This is the actual 5 rather than the reproduction of the 1. And why do I have these notes on there? As ornamental as the fronts are, they do have a very unique item on the back. If you look at the back of the notes, here's the $1 bill. The back of the note features George Washington, and this one features Martha Washington as well. So you've got George and Martha on there, but it's one of the few times that you'll see a president on the back of a bill. That's what made this pretty interesting. And the same thing happens with the 5. With the $5 bill from 1896, you have Ulysses S. Grant on the back of the bill, and he's on there with General Sheridan. Sheridan or Sherman? Sheridan. So you've got another president on the back of a bill. You also have the Raiders of the Lost Ark style wings on here that also I find pretty interesting. But yeah, I pulled these out here and put them on this particular list because they are the only bills, I believe, that you're going to find a president on the reverse. Normally the presidents are always on the front, but to see them on the back, that makes these special. That's how they ended up in that position. Number 4. Now it gets a little trickier. For number 4, you can probably flip most of these in any different order you like. I'm going with one that I do not have or have a reproduction of, but it is on my list to pick up. It is an 1886 $5 silver certificate. That's the front of the note right there. 1886 $5 silver certificate, but what's cool is the back. The back of this $5 silver certificate, let me just make sure I got the right year. Yep, 1886. The back of this $5 silver certificate shows 5 Morgan silver dollars. And that's just pretty cool. When you're going to show, it's almost like the bank teller was illiterate, so just show them the back of the bill and they will know what to give you in change. This is what 5 Morgan silver dollars look like, and this is what this particular bill is good for. Yeah, it's on my list. You can see the price range for some of these notes, so it's up there, but it's not out of there. So I'll probably be getting one if I can find one in decent shape for a decent price. Once again, that's the front of it right there. 1886 $5 silver certificate. Nothing better than actually putting the 5 silver dollars on the back. Number 3 on the list. Number 3, I'm going with the series of 1923 $10 legal tender. This particular note is known, well, it's a 10 even though it looks like a 20 because it's got Andrew Jackson on it. This is known as the poker chip, and it's called the poker chip, but it's actually 2 poker chips when you look at it. The 2 10s on the left and the right have the rays encircling them, giving them the impression that they are poker chips, and they're roughly the size of poker chips as well. So when these are put down face down, it definitely does look like 2 poker chips on there. Me being a poker dealer and a poker player, I have an affinity toward all things poker. This is not in my collection yet. It is a rather pricey note. I will be getting one of these. It is on my wish list. So when I do get one, I'll make sure to bring that one out. But anyway, 1923 poker chip. Another just amazing note. A note known for its back more than anything else. Number 2 on the list. I'm very partial to this note. You guys know that if you've seen any of my lists. This is from 1922, a 1922 $20 gold certificate. Now, back in 1922, you were supposed to turn this in for 1 ounce of gold. 1 ounce of gold is worth far more than this bill right now, even though there are far more ounces of gold than there are these notes. So get them while you can. And of course, what makes these notes cool? The back. They are not green. They are this bright orange. They call it gold, but it's orange. It's a rust orange color. You've got this really cool seal for $20 in the center, showing the seal of the United States there. Just a very intricate pattern, very cool font on these, and what makes it stick out so much is that color. I like how you've got the bannering on the top like that to go with the bannering that is also on the front. So that does pull the whole thing together like that. It is just a really cool, neat to see because it's a very unexpected surprise when you turn the note over. So that is my 1922 $20 gold certificate. And last but not least on my list, number 1. Any guesses? I went with the $2 1918 national currency. This is a Federal Reserve banknote. The Federal Reserve banknote from 1918 has one of the most unique backs on it. We were going through World War I at the time, which was not called World War I. It was called the Great War. It wasn't known as World War I until World War II started. So the Great War, the war to end all wars. World War I. Why is that so important? Because on the back of this note, they wanted to show America's military might. America's military might. They showed the World War I battleship, the USS New York. That is just an impressive back on a note. Now, the reason I put this at number 1 is because when you compare the price of the $2 bill to the prices of other notes in this particular series, the $2 bill has a very high demand because of the imagery on the back of this note. And because of that, it does skew the price compared to some of the other notes. So that is why I went with the battleship as my number 1 note. If you're a veteran, I'm sure this is one you're going to want to have in your collection as well. It's just something that you don't get to see every day. It's not very often you can have imagery like this in your pocket at the time, but as part of your collecting hobby as well. That's what makes this so intriguing. The 1918 Federal Reserve banknote featuring the battleship USS New York. And that's number 1 on my list. So, if you agree with my list, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you think I missed a bill, which I'm sure I did, there is no way I couldn't have missed something. Go ahead and leave that down in the comments because not only me, but other people that read the comments would love to hear what you think should be on that list as well. If you guys like what you see and you want to see more, go ahead and leave a like and give me a sub. And I want to thank JRap 170 once again for helping me out with this list. He gave me the idea, so make sure to check him out as well. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again next week.